Commander Daeho Kim looked at his coffee cup and sighed. The brown liquid had gone cold again while he read the morning reports from Proxima Station. Nothing exciting ever happened out here in the outer colonies. Just mining ships, research, vessels, and the occasional merchant trader looking for rare metals. The alarm changed everything. Red lights flashed across the command center as his communications officer Soo Jin Park ran to her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as data flowed across her screens. "Commander, we have unknown ships approaching the system," Soo Jin said. Her voice was steady, but Daeho could hear the worry underneath. 20 vessels, maybe. More. They're big, sir. Much bigger than anything we've seen before. Daeho set down his coffee cup and walked to the main display screen. The dots representing the unknown ships looked harmless enough, but the computer was showing their size. Estimates. Each ship was at least 3 times larger than anything in the human colonial fleet. "Any response to our greeting signals?" Daeho asked. "Nothing, sir. They're just coming straight toward us." Captain Woobin Lee's voice crackled over the communication system from his merchant ship New Seoul. "Proxima Station, this is Lee. My sensors are picking up some very unfriendly-looking visitors. Should I run?" Daeho thought for a moment. The protocols were clear. If unknown alien contact occurred, the outer colonies were to handle it with whatever forces they had available. Earth Command had been very specific about that rule. No one was to know about Earth's real military strength. "Woobin, get your ship to the far side of the asteroid field. Stay hidden but keep your sensors active. Soojin, send a message to all colonial defense ships. Tell them to form up but stay calm." The human colonial defense force was not impressive. Daeho had 12 patrol ships, each about the size of a large aircraft. The station itself had some defensive weapons, but they were meant for dealing with pirates or dangerous asteroids, not alien warships. An hour later, the alien fleet stopped just outside the system's main asteroid belt. Then they sent their message. Voice that came through the communication system was deep and harsh. The computer worked quickly to translate the alien language into something humans could understand. "Small creatures of this system, I am Admiral Korthvan of the mighty Veltar Empire. You will surrender immediately and prepare to pay tribute to your new masters. Your primitive civilization ends today. You have 1 hour to respond before we destroy everything you have built." Soojin looked at Daeho with wide eyes. "Sir, what do we do?" Daeho smiled. It was not a happy smile. During his training on Earth, he had learned about humanity's real strength. What these aliens saw as the entire human civilization was actually just a few mining colonies with basic defenses. But the aliens didn't need to know that. "Send them a message," Daeho said. "Tell them that humanity does not surrender. If they want to fight, they can have one." Soojin typed quickly. Within minutes, the alien response came back. "Foolish creatures. Your 12 tiny ships dare to challenge the power of the Veltar Empire? We will show you what happens to those who refuse our generous offer of slavery." The alien ships began to move forward. Daeho watched them come and felt strangely calm. His patrol ships were small, but they had advantages the aliens didn't know about. Human technology was much more advanced than it looked. "All ships, this is Commander Kim. Remember your training. Stay mobile, use the asteroids for cover, and target their engines first. These aliens think we're primitive. Let's show them how wrong they are." The battle began badly for the humans. The alien weapons were powerful, and their first shots destroyed 2 patrol ships immediately. But then, human training and technology began to show. The patrol ship Busan, commanded by Lieutenant Tae-Young-Oh, slipped behind a large asteroid and fired a single torpedo. The weapon moved so fast the aliens barely saw it coming. When it hit their lead ship, the explosion was enormous. The alien vessel broke apart and died in space. "What was that?" Admiral Korthvan's voice roared over the communication system. How did such a small ship carry such powerful weapons? More human ships attacked. They moved in ways the aliens had never seen before, turning and spinning through space like dancers. The alien ships were big and strong, but they were also slow and clumsy. Captain Woobin Lee watched the battle from his hiding place behind the asteroids. His merchant ship was not built for fighting, but it had good sensors. He could see everything that happened. Incredible, he whispered to himself. The patrol ships are making the aliens look like children. Su Jin coordinated the battle from Proxima Station. Her job was to make sure every human ship knew where the enemies were and how to attack them best. The station's computer systems were much more advanced than they appeared to be. They could track dozens of targets at once and predict where the alien ships would move next. Commander, the aliens are trying to surround patrol ship Jeju, Su Jin reported. Should I warn them? No need, Daeho replied. Lieutenant Park knows what she's doing. He was right. The patrol ship Jeju suddenly accelerated straight up from the battleplane, moving faster than any of the alien ships could follow. As the alien vessels tried to change direction to chase her, they ran straight into a trap. 3 other human patrol ships had been waiting in the asteroid shadows. Their combined attack destroyed 4 alien ships in less than 30 seconds. Admiral Korthvan could not believe what he was seeing. His 20 powerful warships were being destroyed by tiny, human vessels that moved like nothing he had ever encountered. The humans seemed to know exactly where his ships would be before he even gave the orders. How is this possible? He demanded of his officers. These creatures should be using primitive rockets and metal bullets. Instead, they have weapons and ships that surpass our own technology. One of his officers, a younger alien named Sub-Commander, Vectar, looked at the battle displays with growing fear. Admiral, perhaps we underestimated this species. Maybe these are not primitive creatures at all. Impossible, Korthvan roared. Look at their colonies, a few mining stations and research outposts. This cannot be an advanced civilization. But the battle continued to go badly for the aliens. By the end of 2 hours, 15 of their 20 ships had been destroyed or badly damaged. The humans had lost 4 patrol ships. Finally, Admiral Korthvan ordered his remaining ships to retreat. As they limped away from the battle, he sent one last message to the humans. This is not over, small creatures. The Veltar Empire will return, with greater force. You have only delayed your defeat. Daeho responded calmly. Admiral, you came here expecting to fight primitives with rocks and sticks. Instead, you found prepared defenders with modern weapons. Maybe you should think more carefully before you attack strangers next time. After the alien ships disappeared from their sensors, the human defenders gathered to assess the situation. Su Jin had been busy during the battle, not just coordinating the defense but also gathering information about the aliens. Commander, I managed to hack into their communication systems during the fighting, she reported. The aliens really do think our colonies represent the main human civilization. They have no idea about Earth or the inner systems. Good, Daeho said. That's exactly what Earth Command wants. What else did you learn? The Veltar Empire is huge, sir. Hundreds of star systems, thousands of ships. But they're not very advanced, compared to us. Their technology is maybe 50 years behind ours, and their tactics are even worse. Captain Wubin Lee docked his merchant ship at Proxima Station a few hours later. He found Daeho in the command center, writing his report to Earth Command. Commander, I've been thinking about what happened today, Wubin said. Those aliens are going to go back and tell their empire about us. What happens when they return with more ships? Daeho looked up from his report. Then we'll deal with more ships. The outer colonies exist for exactly this purpose, Wubin. We're the shield that protects Earth and the inner systems. The aliens think they fought our main military force today. Let them keep thinking that. But what if they bring hundreds of ships next time? Daeho smiled. Then we'll show them what our reserves can do. Su Jin finished analyzing the alien technology they had captured during the battle. Sir, these aliens are not stupid, but they're not very creative either. They build big, strong ships, but they don't think about mobility or tactics. They probably won their empire by overwhelming weaker civilizations with numbers. And now they've met humans, Daeho said. A species that wins battles with brains instead of brute force. 3 days later, a message arrived from Earth Command. It was short and simple. Well done. Maintain deception protocols. Prepare for larger engagement. Daeho shared the message with his senior staff. They all understood what it meant. The aliens would return, probably with many more ships, but they would still be fighting what they thought was humanity's main military force. They had no idea that the 12 patrol ships and one small station they had barely defeated represented less than 1% of human defensive capability. Supreme Admiral Zekthai of the Veltar Empire stood in his command chamber, staring at the reports from Admiral Korthvin's failed attack. The papers scattered across his desk told a story that made no sense. 20 warships destroyed by 12 tiny human vessels. It was impossible, yet it had happened. "Explain this to me again," Zekthai said to his intelligence officer. "How does a primitive mining colony defeat a full battle squadron?" Commander Telvek, a young officer with promising analytical skills, cleared his throat nervously. "Sir, our initial assessment may have been incorrect. The humans appear to possess military technology far beyond what their colonies suggest." "That cannot be right. Look at their settlements, mining stations, research posts, a few merchant ships. This is clearly a young civilization that has barely left their home system." "Yes, sir, but their combat performance suggests otherwise. Their ships moved with precision we've never encountered. Their weapons were incredibly powerful for their size, and their tactics—" Telvek paused, checking his notes. "Their tactics were perfect, sir. They knew exactly how we would attack, and were ready for every move we made." Zekthai crushed the report in his massive clawed hand. The Veltar Empire had conquered 47 different species over the past 3 centuries. None had ever defeated them in straight combat. The humans were supposed to be just another easy addition to their growing collection of slave worlds. "Gather the 3rd Sector fleet," he commanded. "All 300 ships. If these humans want to play war games, we will show them what real military power looks like." Meanwhile, at Colonial Defense Headquarters on the mining world of New Gangwa, Admiral Jiwoo Choi received an encrypted message from Earth Command. The message was short, but clear. "Veltar Empire mobilizing sector fleet. Estimated 300+ vessels. Maintain deception protocols. Colonial Defense Fleet authorized for engagement." Jiwoo called his senior staff together in the secure conference room. Around the table sat the commanders who would lead humanity's main fleet against the alien invasion. They all knew the truth. Their 45 ships represented a tiny fraction of human military capability, but the aliens couldn't know that. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jiwoo began, "intelligence reports indicate the aliens are bringing everything they have. This will be the largest space battle in human colonial history." Captain Heejin Nam, the fleet's xenobiologist and diplomatic specialist, raised her hand. "Sir, have we learned anything new about their capabilities?" "Their ships are big and heavily armored but slow and predictable. Their weapons are powerful but inaccurate. Most importantly, they still have no idea what they're really fighting." Commander Taemin Song, leader of the elite fighter squadron, smiled grimly. "Sir, with respect, 45 ships against 300 sounds like bad odds even with our advantages." "True," Jiwoo agreed. "But remember, these aren't our best ships or our most experienced crews. Earth Command wants the aliens to see exactly what a colonial defense fleet can do. Nothing more. Nothing less." The colonial defense fleet was indeed unremarkable by human military standards. The ships were training vessels, mostly used for patrol duties and anti-piracy operations. Their crews were competent, but not elite. Their weapons were standard issue, not the advanced systems used by Earth's real military forces. But to alien eyes, they would appear to be humanity's premier fighting force. 3 weeks later, the Veltar fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Supreme Admiral Zekthai stood on the bridge of his flagship, the massive dreadnought Velkaron, and surveyed the human positions. "There," he said, pointing to the tactical display. 45 ships arranged in defensive formation around their main colony. This must be their entire military force. Telvek studied the sensor readings carefully. "Sir, the ships are similar in design to the ones that defeated Admiral Korthvin, but these are larger. Perhaps these are their capital ships." "It doesn't matter," Zekthai declared. "We outnumber them 7-1. Today we will show the galaxy what happens to species that dare to resist the Veltar Empire." The human fleet waited in formation. Around Kepler Station, a large mining and research facility that served as the administrative center for the outer colonial region. To the aliens, it looked like humanity's most important stronghold outside their home system. Admiral Jiwoo stood on the bridge of his flagship, the cruiser Soul's Pride. The ship was 15 years old and had spent most of its service life chasing smugglers and providing emergency assistance to merchant vessels, but it was still more advanced than anything the aliens possessed. "Alien fleet is broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Communications Officer Lee Minho. "They're demanding our surrender." "Put them through," Jiwoo ordered. "Supreme Admiral." Zekthai's voice filled the bridge. The translator made his words sound harsh and threatening. "Humans of Kepler Station, I am Zekthai, Supreme Admiral of the Veltar 3rd Sector Fleet. You will surrender immediately and prepare for occupation. Resist and we will destroy every ship and structure in this system." Jiwoo activated the communication system. "This is Admiral Choi of the Human Colonial Defense Fleet. We have received your surrender demand and reject it. If you wish to attack this system, you are free to try. You dare challenge 300 warships with your tiny fleet? Your courage is admirable but foolish. Admiral Zekthai, you attacked our outer colonies with 20 ships and lost 15 of them. Now you bring 300 ships to fight 45. Perhaps you should consider who is really being foolish here." The alien response took several minutes to arrive. When it came, Zekthai's voice carried a note of uncertainty. "Your outer colonies were defended by patrol vessels and station weapons. These are clearly your primary military assets." Jiwoo smiled. The deception was working perfectly. "These are colonial defense forces, Admiral. We protect our mining and research facilities from pirates and other threats. If you attack us, you will face the same fate as your previous fleet." "Impossible. Your colonies cannot possess military technology superior to the Veltar Empire." "Then test your theory, Admiral. Attack us and see what happens." The battle began an hour later. The alien fleet approached in a massive formation, their 300 ships arranged in traditional battle lines. They expected to overwhelm the humans through sheer firepower and numbers. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in their military experience. The human ships scattered the moment the aliens entered weapons range. Instead of meeting the attack head-on, they broke into small groups and began moving in complex patterns around the system. The aliens found themselves trying to target fast-moving vessels that seemed to know exactly where the alien weapons would fire. Commander Taemin Song led his fighter squadron into the heart of the alien formation. His 12 small craft moved like a school of fish, weaving between the massive alien warships and striking at precisely chosen targets. "Gold leader to all fighters," Taemin broadcast. "Target their sensor arrays first. Blind them, then go for engines." The fighters were tiny compared to the alien capital ships, but their weapons were incredibly precise. Taemin's first shot disabled the sensor array of a massive alien cruiser, leaving it unable to track targets effectively. His wingman, Lieutenant Sora Kim, followed up by destroying the ship's main engines, leaving it drifting helplessly in space. "Impossible!" roared Captain Helvak from his alien battleship. "How can such small craft penetrate our shields?" The answer was simple. Human weapons were designed to be efficient rather than impressive. Instead of massive energy blasts that looked devastating but wasted power, human weapons delivered precisely focused strikes that went through alien shields like they weren't there. Admiral Jiwoo coordinated the battle from Soul's Pride, watching, as his fleet systematically dismantled the alien formation. The Colonial Defense Fleet was performing exactly as Earth Command had predicted. Good enough to win decisively, but not so advanced that the aliens would realize they were fighting training ships. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Park Sungmin, "alien fleet is breaking formation. They're trying to retreat." "Let them go," Jiwoo ordered. "We've made our point." But Supreme Admiral Zekthai was not ready to retreat. His pride and his empire's reputation were at stake. He ordered his remaining ships to make a final desperate attack on Kepler Station itself. "If we cannot defeat their fleet, we will destroy their colony," he commanded. "Show these humans the price of defying the Veltar Empire." The alien survivors, about 80 ships, charged directly at Kepler Station. It was exactly the move Admiral Jiwoo had been expecting. The station's defensive systems, hidden until now, came online. What the aliens thought was a simple mining station was actually a fortress. Weapon platforms that had been disguised as mining equipment opened fire with devastating effect. The station's shields, powered by reactors the aliens couldn't detect, easily absorbed their attacks. Within 30 minutes, only 12 alien ships remained functional. Supreme Admiral Zekthai found himself trapped aboard a damaged flagship, surrounded by the wreckage of his once mighty fleet. "This is impossible," he whispered to his surviving officers. "How can a mining colony possess such defenses?" Director Bo Rayun sat in her office deep inside Titan Station, reviewing intelligence reports from across human space. As head of Colonial Intelligence Services, she had the challenging job of maintaining humanity's greatest secret, that their colonies represented less than 1% of human military capability. The reports on her desk told a fascinating story. Word of the human victories over the Veltar Empire had spread throughout the galaxy much faster than expected. 3 other major alien civilizations, the Zephron Consortium, the Mordak Federation, and the Cretan Alliance, were now sending spy ships into human territory. "Sir," said her assistant, intelligence analyst Jinwoo Park, "we've detected another Zephyrin probe ship near the Busan mining colony. That's the 4th one this month." "Let them look," Bo-Ra replied. "In fact, make sure they get a good view of our heavily defended industrial facilities." The Busan colony was perfect for Bo-Ra's deception campaign. It looked like a major human stronghold with dozens of ships, massive defensive platforms, and busy industrial facilities. To alien observers, it appeared to be one of humanity's most important military bases. In reality, Busan was a routine mining operation with standard defensive systems. The warships the aliens detected were actually ore carriers and construction vessels. The defensive platforms were asteroid processing stations, but alien sensors couldn't tell the difference, especially when human technology was deliberately designed to confuse enemy intelligence gathering. Captain Dong-Hyun Kang commanded one of the deep space reconnaissance ships that made Bo-Ra's deception possible. His vessel, the survey ship Nu Incheon, spent its time visiting remote systems and leaving evidence of human presence where aliens were sure to find it. "Today we're visiting the Kepler 442 system," Dong-Hyun announced to his crew. "Intelligence wants the aliens to think we have a major naval base there." The Nu Incheon carried special equipment for creating false sensor signatures. When they reached Kepler 442, Dong-Hyun's crew deployed dozens of small devices that would appear on alien sensors as large warships. They also left behind automated communication beacons that broadcast routine military chatter in human languages. To any alien spy ship that discovered the system, it would look like humanity had a significant military presence guarding empty space. The aliens would naturally assume there was something important hidden there, perhaps a secret human stronghold or advanced research facility. "Sir," reported his navigation officer Lee Hai-young, "we've got company. Mordak scout ship trying to stay hidden behind the outer moon." "Perfect," Dong-Hyun smiled. "Make sure they get clear sensor readings of our defensive preparations, then leave quickly like we're trying to avoid detection." The deception worked beautifully. The Mordak scout ship recorded everything it saw and reported back to its commanders that humans had a secret military installation in Kepler 442. Within weeks, alien intelligence services were analyzing the threat posed by yet another human stronghold. Back on Titan Station, Master Strategist So Young Im was coordinating the most complex intelligence operation in human history. Her job was to create a false picture of human space that would satisfy alien curiosity while revealing nothing about Earth's true location or military strength. "The key," she explained to her staff, "is to give them exactly what they expect to find. They think humans are a powerful but limited colonial species, so we show them a colonial empire with reasonable defenses and advanced technology." So Young's maps showed the aliens a human territory containing 47 systems with mining colonies, research stations, and defensive installations. It looked impressive enough to justify human military success, but not so large that aliens would suspect there were thousands of other human systems they hadn't discovered yet. The real genius of the operation was in the details. Every fake human base had a complete fictional history. Supply ships visited them on regular schedules. Communication traffic flowed between them in patterns that suggested a genuine military network. Personnel records showed human officers being transferred from one installation to another. "Ma'am," reported her intelligence coordinator Park Min-jun, "the Zephyron Consortium has requested diplomatic contact. They want to discuss mutual security arrangements in this region of space." "Interesting," So-young replied. "They're getting nervous about our apparent military strength. What's their proposal?" "They want to establish a non-aggression pact and discuss territorial boundaries. Essentially, they're offering to recognize our space in exchange for guarantees that we won't expand into their territory." So-young considered this carefully. A diplomatic contact could provide valuable intelligence about alien intentions, but it also risked exposing the deception if the aliens asked too many detailed questions. "Set up the meeting," she decided. "But make sure it happens at one of our border fortifications. I want them to see what they think is our standard defensive capability." The diplomatic meeting was scheduled for Sejong Station, a research facility that had been disguised to look like a military command post. The station's laboratories were hidden behind false walls, while the common areas were decorated with tactical displays and weapon system status boards. Ambassador Krevel of the Zephyron Consortium arrived with a small diplomatic escort, expecting to meet with representatives of a moderately powerful human colonial government. Instead, he found himself face-to-face with what appeared to be senior military commanders from a technologically superior civilization. Director Bora attended the meeting personally, wearing the uniform of a Colonial Defense Service admiral. She was accompanied by Captain Dong-hyun Kang and Master Strategist So-young Im, both in military dress uniforms that looked appropriately impressive. "Ambassador Krevel," Bora began, "welcome to Sejong Station. We understand your government wishes to discuss territorial boundaries and security arrangements." The alien diplomat was a tall, thin creature with 4 arms and large compound eyes. His species had been dealing with galactic politics for over 1,000 years, but he had never encountered anything quite like the humans. "Admiral Yoon," he replied carefully. "The Zephyron Consortium has observed your recent military activities with great interest. Your victories over the Veltar Empire demonstrate capabilities we had not expected from a recently contacted species." "Recently contacted?" Bora raised an eyebrow. "Ambassador, humans have been active in this region for over 2 centuries. Perhaps your intelligence services need better information sources." This was a carefully prepared lie. Humans had indeed been in space for 2 centuries, but most of that time had been spent in their home system and the immediately surrounding area. The alien assessment of recent contact was actually accurate, but Bora couldn't let them know that. Krevel's compound eyes shifted nervously. "Of course, Admiral. We merely meant that contact between our species has been limited. Our intelligence indicates that human territory encompasses approximately 50 systems with significant defensive installations." 50 systems? So-young. Im spoke up, sounding slightly amused. "Ambassador, I think your intelligence services may be underestimating the scope of human space, but we understand that accurate information can be difficult to obtain." The alien diplomat felt a chill run through his body. If the humans controlled more than 50 systems, his government's entire strategic assessment was wrong. The Zephyron Consortium had been operating under the assumption that humanity was a regional power with limited expansion capability. "Perhaps," Krevel said carefully, "you could provide us with a more accurate assessment of human territorial claims." Bora exchanged glances with her colleagues. This was the critical moment in the deception. Too much information would seem suspicious, but too little would make the aliens more curious. "Ambassador, the Colonial Defense Service protects human interests throughout this entire region of the galaxy. Our exact territorial boundaries are classified military information, but I can assure you that we have no interest in expanding into Zephyron space." "And your military capabilities?" "The Veltar Empire claims that 45 human ships destroyed nearly 300 of their vessels. Such performance suggests technology far beyond what we had estimated." Captain Dong-hyun answered this question. "Ambassador, The Colonial Defense Fleet operates with standard human military equipment and training. We're not particularly advanced by our standards, but we do emphasize efficiency and tactical superiority over brute force. By your standards? Creeville's voice carried a note of alarm. Are you saying that more advanced human forces exist? Every military organization has different levels of capability, So Young replied diplomatically. Colonial defense handles routine security matters in the outer regions of human space. Other branches of human military service have different responsibilities and different equipment levels. The alien diplomat was now thoroughly alarmed. These humans were talking about their colonial defense forces, as if they were entry-level military units. If this was true, what kind of military power did humanity possess in their core territories? Fleet Admiral Seung-ho Jeon stood on the observation deck of his flagship, staring at the industrial facilities of New Busan Colony. The massive mining platforms and orbital refineries looked peaceful in the light of the local star, but intelligence reports suggested this tranquility would not last much longer. Admiral, called his aide, Communications Officer Park Ji-hyun, priority message from Earth Command. Seung-ho read the encrypted report with growing concern. 5 major alien civilizations had formed something called the Grand Coalition, united by their shared fear of human military expansion. Intelligence estimated they were assembling the largest military force in recorded galactic history, nearly 3,000 warships. Sir, said his Chief of Staff, Commander Yu Sung-won, the aliens appear to believe New Busan is our primary industrial center. They're planning to strike here with their main force. Sung-ho nodded grimly. New Busan was indeed important to the colonial economy, but calling it humanity's primary industrial center was laughable. Earth's actual industrial capacity could replace everything in the New Busan system in less than a week, but the aliens didn't know that. What forces do we have available for defense? Seung-ho asked. The Colonial Combined Fleet can deploy 89 ships, sir. It's everything we have in this sector that won't reveal our true military structure. 89 ships against nearly 3,000. Even with human technological advantages, those were impossible odds. But Seung-ho had received special authorization from Earth Command for this engagement. He could deploy Reserve Fleet Tango. Reserve Fleet Tango was still not humanity's real military. It consisted of ships and crews from Earth's training programs and patrol services, the equivalent of a Coast Guard force. But compared to what the aliens had seen so far, these ships would appear to represent a significant escalation in human military capability. Chief of Tactical Operations Mi Young-shin entered the briefing room carrying detailed analysis of alien fleet compositions and battle strategies. Admiral, we've identified the coalition's command structure, she reported. Supreme Commander Vorthak of the Veltar Empire is leading the overall force. The Zephyron Consortium provided most of the heavy battleships. The Mordak Federation contributed their carrier squadrons. The Creton Alliance and Hyveron Collective are providing support vessels. What about their strategy? Overwhelming. Frontal assault, sir. They're planning to jump their entire fleet directly into the system and destroy everything before we can respond. It's crude, but with 3,000 ships it might work. Seung-ho studied the tactical projections. Even with Reserve Fleet Tango's more advanced vessels, defending New Busan would require perfect execution and considerable luck. But the battle had to be fought, and it had to look like humanity was giving everything they had. Mi Young, I want you to coordinate with colonial intelligence. This battle needs to tell the right story. What story is that, sir? The story of humanity's main colonial fleet making a desperate last stand against impossible odds. Win or lose, the aliens need to believe they've finally forced us to reveal our primary military assets. Commander Kyung-soo Bae led the colonial special operations teams that would play a crucial role in the coming battle. His job was to make the alien victory as costly as possible, while gathering intelligence on their military capabilities. Sir, he reported to Admiral Seung-ho, my teams are ready for insertion into the alien fleet. We've prepared boarding pods and stealth infiltration craft. If they want to take New Busan, they're going to pay for every ship they lose. Special operations had always been humanity's secret weapon. Human soldiers were faster, smarter, and more adaptable than any alien. species they had encountered. A single human commando team could capture an alien capital ship if they got aboard undetected. Kyung-soo, I want maximum disruption but minimum exposure. The aliens need to think our special operations capability is limited to what they can. Observe directly. Understood, sir. We'll make it look like desperate improvisation rather than systematic infiltration doctrine. 3 days later, the Grand Coalition fleet arrived at the edge of the new Busan system. Supreme Commander Vorthak stood on the bridge of his massive command ship, the dreadnought Galactic Crusher, and surveyed what his sensors detected. There, he announced to his assembled fleet commanders, 89 human vessels in defensive formation around their industrial colony. This must be their main fleet. Admiral Kreval of the Zephyron Consortium studied the tactical displays carefully. The ships are larger than the colonial defense vessels we've encountered before. Perhaps these are their primary military assets. It doesn't matter, declared General Morthek of the Mordak Federation. We outnumber them 30-1. Today we end the human threat forever. The alien commanders were confident, but they were also nervous. Human military performance had consistently exceeded expectations. Even with overwhelming numerical superiority, they were taking no chances. All ships, Vorthak commanded, advance in full battle formation. Destroy everything in this system, leave nothing functional. The coalition fleet began its advance, nearly 3,000 warships moving in perfect formation toward the human defenders. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history, representing the combined might of 5 major civilizations. Admiral Seung-ho watched them come and felt strangely calm. His 89 ships were good, but they were still training vessels compared to what Earth could deploy if necessary. The crews were competent, but not elite. The weapons were advanced, but not cutting edge. Yet they were still superior to anything the aliens possessed. All ships, this is Admiral John, he broadcast to his fleet. Today we face impossible odds, but we fight for our colonies and our people. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and show these aliens what human determination looks like. The battle began when the first alien ships entered long-range weapons distance. Seung-ho had positioned his forces in a defensive formation that would force the aliens to attack in waves rather than all at once. It was a classic strategy for fighting superior numbers. The first wave consisted of 600 alien ships, mostly light cruisers and destroyers. They expected to overwhelm the human outer perimeter through sheer volume of fire. Instead, they encountered weapons technology that seemed impossible. Commander Tai-jun, captain of the cruiser Daejeon's Pride, fired the opening shot of the battle. His ship's main cannon sent a single projectile across 3 million kilometers of space. The round penetrated the shields of an alien battleship and destroyed its reactor core in a single hit. Direct hit on target Alpha 7, reported his weapons officer. Enemy vessel destroyed. What kind of weapon was that? Demanded alien Captain Hekfor from his nearby cruiser. How did they achieve such range and penetration? The answer was simple. Human weapons were designed for precision rather than spectacle. Instead of massive energy beams that looked impressive, but wasted power, human guns fired projectiles at incredible velocities with perfect accuracy. The first wave of alien ships found themselves under attack from weapons they couldn't match and couldn't understand. Human ships fired less frequently than alien vessels, but every shot hit its target and caused devastating damage. Within 30 minutes, the alien first wave had lost 200 ships. This is impossible, roared Supreme Commander Vorthak. How can 89 ships destroy 200 of ours? His tactical officer, Sub-Commander Telgran, studied the battle displays in amazement. Sir, the human weapons appear to have twice the range and 3 times the penetration power of our heaviest guns, and their accuracy is perfect. Every shot hits its target. Send in the second wave. All remaining ships advance and engage. The second phase of the battle was even more devastating for the coalition. Commander Kyung-soo Bae's special operations teams launched their infiltration attack just as the alien main force entered the combat zone. 50 small pods, each carrying a team of human commandos, slipped through the alien formation undetected. Their targets were the coalition's command ships and carriers. the vessels that coordinated the massive fleet. Lieutenant Sora Kim led the team that infiltrated the Zephyrin command ship Eternal Glory. Her squad of 6 soldiers moved through the alien vessel like ghosts, disabling security systems and eliminating guards without raising alarms. Team leader to base, she whispered into her communicator. We've reached the alien bridge, preparing to capture command staff. Negative, came Kyung-Soo's response. New orders. Disable their coordination systems but leave the ship functional. We want them to survive to report what they've seen. Sora's team planted explosive charges on the alien ship's communication array and navigation computer, then disappeared back into the ship's maintenance tunnels. When the charges detonated, the Eternal Glory found itself cut off from the rest of the fleet, drifting helplessly while its crew tried to understand what had happened. Similar attacks struck 12 other alien command vessels. Within an hour, the coalition's carefully coordinated battle formation had dissolved into chaos as individual ship captains tried to fight without proper communication or tactical coordination. Supreme Commander Chan-Woo Park stood in the command center of Earth's primary defense station, watching holographic displays that showed the entire galaxy. For the first time in human history, alien civilizations had discovered the approximate location of Earth's solar system. It had taken them 18 months since the Battle of New Busan, but the Grand Coalition's surviving intelligence analysts had finally traced human supply lines and communication networks back to their source. They were still wrong about almost everything, but they were no longer completely blind. Sir, reported his intelligence coordinator Lee Sang-min, alien long-range sensors have detected massive energy signatures in the Sol system. They're interpreting these readings as evidence of our main fleet and primary industrial facilities. Chan-Woo smiled grimly. The alien readings were accurate. They were detecting massive energy signatures from the Sol system. What they didn't realize was that these signatures represented only the outermost defensive perimeter of Earth's actual military forces. How many ships do they think we have? Chan-Woo asked. Current alien intelligence estimates suggest approximately 50,000 human vessels in the Sol system, sir. They believe this represents our total military capability. 50,000 ships. The aliens thought they had finally discovered the true extent of human military power. In reality, they were detecting roughly 5% of Earth's actual defensive forces. Ambassador Yoon-ji Lee had been preparing for this moment for over a year. As humanity's first official diplomatic representative, she would soon make contact with the galactic community under completely different circumstances than previous encounters. Ambassador, Chan-Woo said, Earth Command has authorized Phase 2 revelation protocols. You're cleared to make official contact with the alien coalition leadership. What level of military capability should I reveal, sir? Show them exactly what they expect to see. A powerful human civilization that has been hiding its true strength. Let them think they've finally forced us to reveal our real military forces. Yoon-ji nodded. The deception would continue, but on a much larger scale. Instead of pretending to be weak colonial defenders, humanity would now pretend to be a major galactic power that had been concealing its strength for strategic reasons. Captain Junho Kim commanded the UES Terra's Might, the ship selected to carry Ambassador Lee to her historic meeting with alien leaders. The Terra's Might was classified as a diplomatic escort vessel by Earth's military standards, essentially an armed transport for carrying important passengers. But to alien observers, it would appear to be a capital ship of incredible power. Captain, reported his navigation officer Park So-jin, all systems are operating at normal parameters. The ship is ready for departure. Understood. Take us to the coalition fleet's location. Time to introduce ourselves properly. The Terra's Might departed from Earth's orbital shipyards, its movement carefully monitored by alien long-range sensors throughout the galaxy. What those sensors detected should have been impossible. A single human vessel with an energy signature, larger than most alien battle stations. Coalition Supreme Commander Vorthak, now serving as the coordinator for all alien intelligence operations. Regarding humanity, watched the sensor readings with growing alarm. This cannot be accurate, he said to his senior analyst. Their single ship shows more power generation than our entire remaining fleet. Sir, We've confirmed the readings through multiple sensor networks. The human vessel appears to be some kind of super dreadnought-class warship. And they're using it as a diplomatic transport? The implications were terrifying. If humans used ships of such power for routine diplomatic missions, what did their actual military vessels look like? The Terrasmite arrived at the designated meeting coordinates, a neutral system that had been selected by mutual agreement between human and alien negotiators. Captain Junho's ship took position near the Coalition's diplomatic station, a hastily constructed facility that had been built specifically for this historic meeting. "Ambassador," Junho announced to Yunji, "we've arrived at the meeting site. The aliens have provided a standard diplomatic shuttle for your transport to their station." "Thank you, Captain. Remember, while I'm conducting negotiations, your job is to let them examine this ship just enough to draw the wrong conclusions about our capabilities." The diplomatic shuttle that carried Ambassador Yunji to the alien station was itself a source of amazement for the Coalition representatives who examined it. The small craft contained technology that seemed decades ahead of anything in their databases. Alien Chief Scientist Morketh performed detailed scans of the shuttle while Yunji was in transit. "The hull material is completely unknown to us," he reported to his superiors. "The power source appears to be some kind of matter conversion system we don't understand. And the computer systems are using processing methods that our best analysts cannot decipher." "You're saying that their diplomatic shuttle contains technology superior to our most advanced research facilities?" asked Coalition Intelligence Director Zekval. "That appears to be correct, sir." Ambassador Yunji's first meeting with the Coalition leadership took place in a conference room aboard their diplomatic station. Around the table sat representatives from all 5 major alien civilizations, along with observers from dozens of smaller species. "Honored representatives," Yunji began. "I am Ambassador Lee of the United Earth Government. I have been authorized to discuss the current state of relations between humanity and the galactic community." Supreme Commander Vorthak spoke first. "Ambassador Lee, our coalition was formed in response to human military activities that appeared to threaten the stability of this region. We now understand that we may have underestimated the scope of human civilization." "How so, Commander?" "Our intelligence services have detected massive military installations in your home system. Energy signatures suggest a fleet numbering in the tens of thousands of vessels. Why did you conceal this capability during previous encounters?" Yunji had prepared carefully for this question. "Commander, humanity has learned to be cautious when dealing with unknown species. Our early encounters with your forces suggested aggressive intentions. We responded with the minimum force necessary to protect our interests." "Minimum force?" General Morthek of the Mordak Federation sounded incredulous. "Your colonial defense fleets destroyed thousands of our ships." "Yes, General. Our colonial defense forces are equipped and trained to handle routine security threats. They represent our standard response to piracy, territorial violations, and minor military incursions." The alien representatives exchanged alarmed glances. If humanity's colonial defense forces were considered routine security measures, what did their actual military look like? Ambassador Krival of the Zephyron Consortium asked the question they were all thinking. "Ambassador Lee, what would constitute a major military response from humanity's perspective?" Yunji paused as if considering how much she should reveal. "Gentlemen, humanity has been a spacefaring civilization for over 3 centuries. We have encountered dozens of species during our expansion, not all of them friendly. Our military doctrine is based on the principle of proportional response." "What does that mean?" "It means we use exactly as much force as necessary to achieve our objectives. No more, no less. The forces you encountered were sufficient to protect our colonies and demonstrate our defensive capabilities. Larger threats would require different levels of response." Coalition Intelligence Director Zekval leaned forward. "Ambassador, are you saying that humanity possesses military capabilities beyond what we have already observed?" "Director Zekval, I'm saying that humanity takes the defense of our territory and our people very seriously. The forces you've encountered represent our commitment to protecting our interests in the colonial regions. And the forces protecting your core systems? Yunji smiled diplomatically. Our core systems are protected according to their strategic importance. After the initial diplomatic session, the alien representatives met in private session to discuss what they had learned. The implications of Ambassador Lee's carefully worded statements were staggering. She's telling us that their colonial defense forces are just routine security measures, Supreme Commander Vorthak said to his colleagues. If that's true, what are they hiding in their home territories? Our sensor readings from the Sol system suggest at least 50,000 vessels, reported Intelligence Director Zekval, but the ambassador implied that even this might not represent their full capability. General Morthek studied the tactical projections. If we assume that their home defense forces are proportionally stronger than their colonial forces, we could be looking at military capabilities far beyond anything in galactic history. Meanwhile, Captain Junho was conducting his own diplomatic mission aboard the Terra's Might. Coalition scientists and military observers had been invited to examine the human vessel, ostensibly as a gesture of goodwill. What they discovered convinced them that humanity possessed technology centuries ahead of their own. Chief Scientist Morketh led the alien inspection team through carefully selected areas of the Terra's Might. Every system they examined appeared to be impossibly advanced.